Greenwood, the latest Indiana city to score big in the multi-billion-dollar youth sports industry. How it's all adding up to big bucks there and across the state. Plus,
there's no substitute for doing it face-to-face. That's why we come, and we've got a pretty good track record, so to speak, in seeing that checkered flag.
Why auto racing was a key driver during Indiana Governor Holcomb's most recent overseas trade mission. And
I'm Kate the Chemist. You might have seen me on The Today Show, Wendy Williams, Kelly Clarkson, Rachel Ray, and I got Mr. Colbert to breathe fire.
Making science fun. How Kate the Chemist does it and her new role in Indiana education.
Explosions!
Nothing like a good old-fashioned exothermic reaction.
Inside Indiana Business is next.
From Indiana's business news leader, this is IBJ Media's Inside Indiana Business with Gary Dick, presented by Elevate Ventures, Indiana University, and LIUNA.
Hello and welcome to Inside Indiana Business. I'm Gary Dick. Indiana communities are scoring big time when it comes to cashing in on the multi-billion-dollar youth sports tourism industry. What was once farmland, like Grand Park here in Westfield, turning into a field of dreams for players and a game-changing profit maker for Hoosier cities and towns across the state. Greenwood is the latest Indiana city to get into the sports tourism game. This weekend, christening a $10 million sports park that has been years in the making. Baseball and softball fields, a community playground, splash park, and cricket pitch, all part of a development expected to generate economic and social impact.
For the area that's around us, we'll see more restaurants come in. We'll probably see a hotel or two come in out of this. We'll have business owners looking at it to have a sports complex here on the south side of the city. One more amenity for those businesses to bring business into Greenwood.
Nationally, sports tourism is a $128 billion industry that is showing no signs of slowing down. And Indiana is grabbing more than its fair share of the action. No better example than in Hamilton County.
Where there was just a small rural town, this popped up, almost in the middle of nowhere.
Westfield's Grand Park has garnered national attention as a model for driving sports tourism dollars. The 400-acre sports mecca, which hosts the Indianapolis Colts training camp, attracts more than 3.5 million visitors annually. In fact, since 2017, Grand Park has attracted more visitors than any youth sports facility in the nation, including ESPN's Disney Sports Complex in Orlando. And Westfield's Hamilton County neighbors are getting into the game in a big way. Construction on the Noblesville Event Center, the future home of the Indiana Pacers G League team, is on schedule to open next May. Sports and entertainment at the Noblesville venue expected to drive a $50 million economic shot in the arm. Less than 10 miles away, the 7,500-seat Fishers Event Center is nearing completion, slated to open Thanksgiving weekend. It will be the home of professional hockey with the Indy Fuel, an indoor football franchise, and professional volleyball team, at least 150 nights of events, and an estimated $1 billion in neighboring development.
If you think about it, there's going to be about 150 nights a year where there's going to be something going on in this building back here, and then we're wrapping it with a bunch of restaurants, entertainment venues, things of that nature, chicken and pickles being built over here. So really this becomes a bit of an entertainment district. And Fishers residents, what I learn more and more every day is they want to be entertained close to their home. They want to work close to their home. This proximity thing is a real thing today. You got to build a well-rounded community to really compete on the global market for talent today.
And for the newest player in the sports tourism game, that quality of life impact is real.
We want Greenwood to be a city where our neighbors neighbor again. We want them to know their neighbors. We want them to be able to help their neighbors. And what we've seen over the past few years with the changes we've made, especially in parks, is that it is doing just that. It's getting people out of the houses, bringing them here, but getting to know their neighbors. And by doing that, they're taking their neighborhoods, they're building them up. The assessed valuation is going up on homes. It's making people's homes worth more. By us adding these things, it's giving them that extra added value to upgrade our neighborhoods and allow people to neighbor again.
Attracting sports tourism dollars also a big priority outside of central Indiana. For example, in Mishawaka, where athletes are preparing to show their skills at this new $38 million field house. Really a sharp facility there. It features 19 volleyball courts, which can be converted into basketball courts as well, a pickleball area, and batting cages. In Madison County, there's a plan to build a $10 million sports complex in Elwood, the city accepting bids for a project that would include a massive indoor facility for basketball and volleyball, as well as softball and baseball diamonds. And on the west side of Indianapolis, a $45 million makeover of Kuntz Memorial Soccer Stadium. It's underway. Plans call for the city-owned complex across from the old Busch Stadium to be turned into a rugby-focused facility. Lots of investment indeed. Well, Lebanon and Boone County and New Haven outside of Fort Wayne, also among Indiana cities with massive youth sports complexes. Those are in the works. Coming up next, Indiana leaders zeroing in on Italy and Slovakia as targets for economic growth. We go one-on-one with Governor Holcomb and why racing is a big part of that mission.
Bloomington, Indiana is a great place to live, work, and raise a family. Indiana University helps spark the economy and makes life in a college town better. We are connected to a national forest and home to 3 lakes. It starts with a visit. Plan yours at visitbloomington.com.
Well, Indiana business leaders are traveling the globe, working to grow the state's multi-billion-dollar international trade economy. Indiana Secretary of Commerce David Rosenberg leading a delegation this week to Taipei in Taiwan. Very urban setting they visited this week to strengthen Indiana's position in the semiconductor industry. Last year, the state did more than $1.5 billion worth of trade with Taiwan. 2 big items on the IEDC agenda: attending the Semicon International Semiconductor event in Taipei and promoting Indiana's new IEDC office there. The trip to Southeast Asia comes on the heels of Indiana Governor Eric Holcomb's trip to Slovakia and Italy.
And the Italian Grand Prix is underway. Lando Norris is looking at his teammate and he's got the launch that he needs.
Racing, the name of the game, in Italy. The governor and business delegation attending the F1 race in Monza.
It's just like the Indy 500 in the sense that everybody goes to one place. And so you can be very efficient with your time, with the right folks at the table all throughout the morning and afternoon leading up to the big race.
The group also visited Dallara's racing headquarters in Italy, which has operations in one place outside the country, Speedway. Dallara, one of 35 Italian companies doing business in Indiana, all adding up to more than $5 billion in economic impact.
We're very focused on the work in our racing industry with companies like Dallara, who have been so important to our heritage and all the innovation that comes out of Dallara, not just in the racing industry, but in aerospace and in defense.
Strengthening Indiana's longstanding military ties with Slovakia, another big focus of the trip. One stop marking the 80th anniversary of the Slovak national uprising against the Nazis. Indiana, the only state to do so in person.
National security goes hand in glove with economic security and potential growth. And so to have the field to ourselves, quite frankly, was a real advantage.
It's a defense partnership with Slovakia that Indiana National Guard Adjutant General Dale Lyles describes as a major positive for the state.
All the restricted and special use airspace we have at Camp Atterbury, the ability to use Camp Atterbury, and the ability to use our cyber range out in Scatatuck. You team us up with Crane Naval Warfare Center, and we're a win-win.
And after Slovakia, the governor went on to Ukraine, where he met with Ukraine's President Zelensky. Holcomb, the first U.S. governor to visit Ukraine since the Russian invasion in 2022.
Here's what's making news around Indiana. Brought to you by the Indiana Association of Realtors. Indiana's 21,000 realtors. The neighbors you know, the experts you can count on.
Well, it is not often you hear Gnawbone, Indiana is home to a company's headquarters, but that's about to change. Mary Rachel Redmond here now with that story.
Well, Gary, we begin with something to chew on in the Brown County community of Gnawbone, where if you blink, you might just miss it. Mainstream Fiber Networks investing $1.5 million in a new headquarters in the tiny burg near Brown County State Park. The company says it's also adding 50 jobs throughout the state, and with the help of federal and state dollars, deploying millions of dollars to expand its fiber optic footprint in rural and underserved areas of Indiana.
The broadband is basically a utility. There isn't a business that operates without it. Children and families rely on it for school. Remote work has become an increasing thing. So if you have areas that don't have those services and those capabilities, and I mean robust fiber optic nets, I'm not talking about copper, then it won't attract that economic development.
We are investing back into the community. This isn't just dollars that go somewhere else in the country. This is dollars that goes right back into Indiana. We're supporting a Hoosier workforce. We're hiring upper management, middle management, supervisors. We're hiring people to help build up our company, and we are Hoosiers.
Mainstream says it expects to grow its customer base in rural Indiana at a 50% clip annually. The company launched in 2012 and last year received a capital infusion from global private investment firm Searchlight Capital Partners, which counts former FCC Chairman Ajit Pai as one of its partners.
My kind of town, Chicago is my kind of town.
My kind of town, indeed. Nonstop service from the River City to the Windy City has officially returned to Evansville Regional Airport. American Airlines now offering twice daily service to Chicago O'Hare Airport. The airline's regional flight service, a 50-passenger jet dubbed American Eagle.
This is one of the only still functioning Civil War memorials serving its original purpose that's not a plaque or a statue. So you're walking into history every time that you walk through our doors.
The treasured Memorial Opera House in the heart of downtown Valparaiso may soon be owned by the very city it's called home for more than 130 years. Valparaiso in discussions right now with its present owner, Porter County. The proposed plan calls for Valparaiso to take over management of the historic property at the end of the year. If all goes well, Porter County could transfer ownership to the city of Valpo at no cost starting in 2028. The Memorial Opera House currently in the final stages of a $5 million renovation scheduled to be finished this month. That's a quick look at what's making business news around the state. Gary?
All right, Mary Rachel, some great information indeed. Well, coming up next.
I know I don't look like your normal TV scientist with the tweed jacket, the horn-rimmed glasses. On any given day, I might look like this, or this, or this, or like this, or this.
Blowing up stereotypes in science. Meet the woman putting cool into chemistry at Notre Dame when we come back.
Fire, homemade thunderclouds, more explosions, gummy worms, designer shoes, and explosions.
Well, if anyone can make science fun, interesting, and relatable, it's Kate Biberdorf, or more famously known as Kate the Chemist. From her appearances on the Today Show to Stephen Colbert, she is a rising star, and now she's a Hoosier. This was her first week on the job at Notre Dame, taking on a role that has never existed in the U.S. until today. Kylie Valletta has that story. Kylie.
That's right, Gary. Dr. Kate Biberdorf, or Kate the Chemist, as seen on TV, is now Professor for the Public Understanding of Science at Notre Dame. The University of Oxford is known for pioneering the strategy to promote its science, and now Notre Dame is the first school in the U.S. to launch the same experiment to highlight its science.
Yes! I'm Kate the Chemist.
She's nationally known for breathing fire, explosions,
and major TV appearances. And now her mission is to bring that same notoriety to Notre Dame.
And I think what you're going to see in the next 5 years out of this campus is going to be absolutely groundbreaking.
As Professor for the Public Understanding of Science, a brand new faculty position, Kate's job is to shine the spotlight on the scientific discoveries and research taking place at Notre Dame.
I want to give the gift of science to the community. We're going to start local here in South Bend, then we're going to take over Indiana, and by the end of my 5-year stint here, which I hope it's longer, but the contract's 5 years, but at the end of 5 years, we're going to take over this entire planet.
The significance of research is often lost on the public because it can be hard to explain, but Kate's job is to simplify high-level science and then take it to the masses.
I hate to say it, but I'm going to take the Gen Z approach. It's social media, it's YouTube, it's getting a camera on these people and then helping them translate the science. When they go into the jargon, I can be next to them and be like, okay, hold on, let's translate what you just said.
Notre Dame wooed her from the University of Texas by offering the chemist her dream lab, a makerspace that's part science, part studio.
So I'm going to have all my gloves, all my tanks of gas, all my safety equipment. But on the other side of the lab, you're going to see the lights, the camera, the action that you would usually see in a studio. And so we're going to get the scientists into this lab. I'm going to teach them how to present their science in a good way. And we are going to just be shouting from the rooftops about this amazing science. But it will be shot well, it'll be edited well, and it will be in manageable chunks that everyone from a boomer all the way down to Gen Alpha will want to ingest.
A doctorate-holding chemist on campus.
All right, so Teddy, what I want you to do is have fun with that and breathe it out at somebody.
Dr. Biberdorf will still moonlight as Kate the Chemist.
The goal is to lift up the public understanding of science, and if we can do that by lifting up Notre Dame's rankings as well, like win-win. I want you to answer a question as loudly as you possibly can. Here we go. Do you like science?
A hypothesis that the prominence of Notre Dame's College of Science will be as explosive as Kate's chemistry.
And I think that we are going to prove to every single campus in the United States that you need this role if you want to shout from the rooftops how good your science is.
And Kate is not too far from home at Notre Dame. She grew up in Kalamazoo, about an hour drive from Notre Dame, and her uncle was head chef at Notre Dame. So she actually spent some time as a kid on campus.
Oh, that's great. And you know, science, STEM, the STEM field continues to be male dominated. That's not lost on her, right?
No, she says she really leans into that. I mean, this is a prestigious role, very public. She wears her Louis Vuittons, her pencil skirts, her jewelry. She really leans into that. She wants to show little girls that you can aspire to be a scientist too.
It's good stuff. Great report,
Yep.
Kylie, as always. Thanks.
Time now for our Eye on Education, brought to you by PNC Bank.
Well, we begin this week in Southwest Indiana. Wabash Steel investing $2.5 million to install new high-tech equipment in its Knox County facility. It's exciting news for the company and for the Center of Applied Robotics and Automation at Vincennes University. The school's president says they're working to meet the company's growing needs, which includes training current and potential future employees.
It's a natural partnership because we're co-located pretty much on the same space right next to one another. And they do a lot of things that we specialize in, including advanced manufacturing.
For some perspective, Wabash Steel says when this new equipment comes online next year, a process that currently takes 3 hours will only take about 45 minutes. And we'll be right back to wrap things up after this. Well, Science Indiana's economy is on a positive course heading into the final months of the year. PNC Bank out with a new survey on the economy, which shows 3/4 of businesses surveyed say they're optimistic about the future. Low unemployment, signs that inflation coming down, and a potential cut in interest rates, all fueling what economists believe will be a soft landing for the economy. PNC Senior Economic Advisor Stuart Hoffman says Central Indiana has really far outpaced other cities in the Midwest since the pandemic, especially when it comes to adding new jobs.
The unemployment rate for July in Indianapolis was 3.5%. The U.S. number was 4.3%. And your labor force has grown at a faster pace. So people are coming to Indianapolis and Indiana.
Hoffman predicts the central Indiana economy will continue to outpace national trends. Well, one of Indiana's most influential political leaders now has a bronze statue in his honor. Hundreds of people gathered in downtown Indianapolis this week for the unveiling of a larger-than-life bronze statue created to honor former Senator and Indianapolis Mayor Richard Lugar. Former Secretary of State Condoleezza Rice delivered remarks saying Lugar put humility and servant leadership above ego. Richard Lugar passed away in 2019 and left an incredible legacy of public service on Indiana, serving 30 years in the U.S. Senate and before that, 2 terms as mayor of Indianapolis. Indy also commemorating another major milestone this week, the 60th, believe it or not, 60th anniversary of the Beatles playing 2 concerts at the Indiana State Fairgrounds. We leave you this week with highlights from that show. Go out and make it a great week.
May I present the Beatles!
Thank you for listening to the Inside Indiana Business Television podcast. Remember, you can get the latest business news from every corner of the state at InsideIndianaBusiness.com. I'm Gary Dick. Go out and make it a successful week.